Morning, everybody. It is 4/20/22, Wednesday, hump day, Wednesday post Easter. And I need to talk a little bit about what's going on, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I was at the grocery store Monday, and I ain't gonna lie, the grocery store stockers are doing a hella good job covering up the holes in the supply chain. But I want to let you know, okay? I specifically went in the store for 2 items: paper towels and trash bags for my kitchen trash can. And guys, I ain't gonna lie, both of those items were on the same aisle, and there were only 3 boxes of Kroger brand trash bags, and there was really only half a dozen Hefty. And in the paper towel section, it wasn't as full as I would think it would have been, or at least as usual. Let's just go that direction. Ladies and gentlemen, my magic 8 ball tells me that we got about 6 months. And that is being very, very, very optimistic, before shortages cannot be covered up by creative stocking. And by creative stocking, what I mean is, if the store has, several cases of green beans, but they have only 2 cans of black-eyed peas, they'll move and face those black-eyed peas to the front and fill the empty space with green beans. Ladies and gentlemen, did not Toilet Paper Mageddon give y'all a little foreshadowing of what could happen? How delicate our supply chain is? Literally, guys, it took almost 6 months for the supply chain to catch up. And I don't know about you guys, my wife did not like using one-ply toilet paper. So, das no gut. Now, so what does happen, guys? Well, in all honesty, I've done this in the past, and I'm going to outline it again. Yuppies, and that it would include downtown city dwellers, will most likely be the first to experience this problem. A, because due to property constraints, their stores are smaller, so they can stock fewer products. Typically, downtown dwellers are not preppers because they live in lofts and things like that. They go get fresh products daily, maybe every other day, to cook with. They make small purchases here and there, and they go about their business. Their pantries are well organized, but not well stocked. They have, maybe some pasta, and that's about it. Because they're going to be the first ones to have problems, more than likely they're going to then seek resources outside of downtown. That's then it's going to work like a ripple effect in a pool of water. You throw that rock in that pool and it ripples out in a circle. What's going to then happen is stores outside of downtown are then going to have additional influxes of customers. They're going to start suffering too, because A, they're going to need to, keep up with their regular customer base, but then they're going to have an influx of imports from downtown. Yeah. So that's going to put an additional strain on those stores. Supply chains already disrupted, guys. If the inner cities can't get enough, food, then the same's going to happen with everything. Then it's going to ripple out to the, suburbs. It's going to ripple out then to the more rural areas. Then you're going to have, Now, here's the deal. Once the shelves go bare, panic is going to start kicking in. Okay? If the ripples can't, keep the masses fed, then survival goes into effect. Survival encompassed with panic puts us in a wild dog situation. You back a wild dog into the corner, what's it going to do? It's going to bite you. So what's then going to happen? Okay, people are going to start getting hungry. And they're going to start looking for help. Now, if the government does not start kicking in really, really quick with help, which I don't know how they'll help. The food banks are going to start opening, but food banks, can only feed so many. They're not designed to feed an entire populace, but they do have the infrastructure to do it. So what will more than likely happen is that the government will then start feeding into the food banks to distribute food. Now, just remember, guys, we're dealing with a government and a society, let's just stick to government. We're dealing with a government that's bent on control. And what that control is bent on is identifying troublemakers and feeding the sheep. So, what's going to happen is that people will get food pretty quick the first round. But what then's going to happen is it's going to be like a drug dealer. Get you hooked on the drug, then you come back and you pay through the yin-yang. What's really, really quick going to happen is that you're going to have to start identifying yourself to get the food. That whole social credit score thing, that's going to be a thing. You're not going to get food if your social media positions do not reflect the way that they want you to reflect. What's going to happen is you'll be identified either with, you'll go through a kind of a vetting station before you go into the food bank, and they'll stamp your hand or something like that with a fairly permanent ink or a radioactive isotope or something like that. That's going to, identify you. Even if you go to a different location, they'll be able to see it with an ultraviolet. Hey, you didn't pass here. Why do you think you need to pass there? So, they'll also identify you, after you get the food. They'll stamp you. That way you don't go to a different location and try to get more food. Control, guys. Control. Okay. Now, what happens to the people who can't get food? Well, unfortunately, they're going to either start panicking or they'll comply. They'll change all their social media stances to reflect what they need to get food. And there you go. What this political structure wants is compliance. Now, they're struggling with the whole taking the guns away. So that is ultimately their goal, because the only way they're really going to be able to control is disarmament. So what they'll probably end up doing is if you bring your guns in or a gun in, they'll give you a temporary reprieve on and let you get food. Now, that's all also contingent that the ATF get this registry going. Now, they've already got it, in the works. I mean, it's not 100% complete or anything, but if you've bought a weapon in the last few days or the last year or so, you're probably in that registry. Especially if they've had to run your NICS because you're not a CHL holder, so you've bleeped their radar. So what's going to happen? Okay, they know you have guns, so you're going to get a red mark against your social media, or so your social credit score. You're going to have to, turn in said weapon or weapons to get that red mark taken off. But that's to come, guys. That's the way this is. They can't get you to to give up your weapons, but they can sure starve you to the point where you're like, well, okay, I guess I'll give up my guns for some food. But, guys, food is coming. Food shortages are coming. And those food shortages are either going to make or break the midterm elections. So, be ready. It's getting crazy. Let's go, Brandon.